is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Should any person not wish to be recorded, I advise that they should leave the meeting room prior to any statements being made. Any defamatory statements made are not the position of council and remain an individual's opinion. Council accepts no responsibility for any defamatory statements, and all liability remains with the person making the remarks.
Oh, I've got this. What he and Farmer.
Looks like he is.
Looking beauty.
A minute to go, is it?
Yeah.
Leave the room. Females meeting.
I would like to invite Councillor Mark Sutherland to do the welcome to country.
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. My name is Mark Sutherland. I'm a proud Gomeroi man born and raised here in Tamworth. I like to say Yama, Yama Nei Gomeroi, Wallabag Nyani Winungalawak, Nabal Murray, Marumara, Ngale Darwin. Dilia Yanbali, Gona Madus Gaingal Gomeroi Ngamlanginda, Winalanginda, Winangalawa. And that's the language spoken by our families and our communities here in Tamworth, the language of Gomeroi people, making sure that we acknowledge the land that we're on now is the land of the Gomeroi people, and that we pay respects to old people who have cared and still care for the country that we're on. Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Sutherland. I'd now like to invite Pastor James Ardell to provide us with the Mayor. If everyone would like, sorry, the prayer, if everyone would like to stand.
Thank you, Mark. Almighty Father, we appreciate the God-given nature of our Australian democracy and the peaceful and respectful civil government at all levels of governance at all levels of government. Lord, we pray that the new Labor government and Tamworth Regional Council will form a strong working relationship. We proclaim that integrity, equity and fairness will be the hallmark of Tamworth Regional Council. We pray that the councillors and staff be wise and consider their duties and deliberations, and that every decision will bring greater prosperity and a deeper sense of community to Tamworth and our region. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thanks, Pastor. So item 1, apologies and leave of absence. We have one leave of absence, and that being the Mayor, Councillor Russell Webb. I'll move on to community consultation. There is no community consultation. Item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. Could I have a mover? Councillor Betts. Second, Councillor Mears. Is there any discussion? I'll move that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? It's carried. Any disclosure? Item 4, disclosures of interest. Any disclosures of interest? There be no disclosures of interest. I'll move on to the mayoral minute, item 5.1, which I will move in the absence of the Mayor. Is there any discussion?
I was going to second it, but no.
You don't need no second.
Any discussion? There be no discussion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. I'll move to item 7, open council reports, and there being no items in item 7, I'll move on to item 8.1, energy sustainability 6 monthly report. Could I have a mover? Councillor Southwell, and seconded by Councillor Sutherland. Would you like to speak to your motion, councillor?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to make a brief comment just to say that the Energy Sustainability 6-monthly report, thank you to Alfred Davis for providing this very thorough report about what we're doing in our energy sustainability. It's just really, really good to see all of the different things that are happening. I think there's just so many opportunities in this space which we're obviously investigating, such as solar and LED lighting at the airport, and there's just a number of the others listed. Things like LGCs and things that we're not currently doing but investigating doing into the future. Great to see the $250,000 estimated savings for our streetlights. There's just a number of savings in this space. Not only are we doing the right thing for our environment, but it's good for the pocket as well. So thank you for that report, and I look forward to hearing more about our energy sustainability as we move forward.
Thanks, Councillor Southwell. Any other discussion? Councillor Sutherland.
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. Just want to point out that in our recently adopted sustainability strategy, a lot of the community feedback was really focused on how great it was to have clear goals within the strategy, but also have really defined actions. And to get updates on how we're progressing along those actions, I think is really meaningful to see the work that we're achieving, but also the work that's in the pipeline. So just want to commend the staff on being able to outline really clear on what these actions are and the progress that we're moving towards them. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Sutherland. Any other discussion? Well, put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item 8.2, could I have a mover? Councillor Tickle, seconder Councillor Southwell. Would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. The minutes are tabled there, but I would like to report that planning is well underway for our autumn tree plantings, as was reflected in the minutes, or stated in the minutes, the thoughts of the committee, which includes some arborists and other specialist members, and we're very grateful of their input. But the advice was perhaps move a lot of the spring plantings into autumn, because we've found that particularly the yellow box that did much better being planted in the autumn than in spring, but also the weather forecast was for really hot conditions throughout the year. Of course, we're now perfect. We've got all this rain, so it'll be perfect for our autumn plantings, and we're wanting to involve the community. We've said before, council cannot do it all on our own, so we're planning, got over 200 trees to be planted in Somerton, another 200 in Barraba, another 200 at Manila, 100 odd at Moonby, and on it goes. It's about 1,200 in total. The Rotary Clubs at Tamworth are helping with a significant planting on Gunnedah Road. So if anyone has contacts in Barraba and Manila, we do have some very interested people in those areas, but we do want to involve the community, not only in the planting, but also in the maintaining. And we're in the process of having a link on our webpage for the maintenance of trees, because that's a very important part, an integral part of having a successful long-term tree. So we have our planting guide, greening and cooling Tamworth and planting of trees, but a very important step is maintenance, and we do have some definite plans underway to have that happening very soon. Links on our webpage to some very good videos on that topic.
Thanks, Councillor Tickle. I neglected to actually ask people with those other two motions whether there was any speakers against, so sorry. Is there any speakers against this motion? Any other speakers for? General comments, Councillor South.
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. Yeah, just a quick comment on this one, just to say that nearly every week I receive positive comments about the trees in our region, and we're just doing such amazing things in this space. People are constantly saying, oh, the hundreds of trees, thousands of trees that are going, how fantastic is it? And it really is great. I know we say it each time this report comes up, but I do want to thank the committee and Councillor Tickle for your continued dedication and commitment to trees in our region. It's just awesome. I was a little bit concerned in the minutes that there's a number of items that are work in progress, and I've spoken to Councillor Tickle about these, which they've been on the agenda for 6 months or more. So it's good to hear that some of the videos and things are starting to be placed on our website, because there's a lot of opportunities, again, because people are so they can see this happening in our region and people want to be involved. So I think having those videos up will be a really good way to show them how you can underprune, how you can maintain the trees, which is our biggest issue that we've got with trees. So well done to all those involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Southwell. Any other comments? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Item 8.3, could I have a mover? Councillor Betts, seconder. Councillor Coates. Would you like to speak for you?
Look, just briefly, Mr Acting Mayor, and it's not directly related to this particular item, but it also encompasses 9.1, which is the commemorative day service. The Traffic Committee hasn't received any traffic control plans for a lot of the services out there because there hasn't been any invitations to the services, but because of the changeover in the Traffic Committee's engineering staff, they are now going to send out some pro formas to these groups so that it'll stitch in to the overall plan of the safety and the traffic plans for the marches. Thanks, Mr Acting Mayor.
Is there a speaker against? Any other comments? Councillor Coates.
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. I just want to make a comment about how positive it will be to have the maximum width car spaces in both Burke Street and Marius Street, because I think that with so many cars there, you actually come along and for some reason someone's there, someone moves, and you're quite often wasting a lot of those spaces. And given the priority and the demand for it, I think that would be a really good move for us to carry that out. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Coates. Any other comments? Councillor Southwell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, just like to concur with Councillor Coates. I think the line marking is very, very good. I've been advocating for that for a little while now. I think there's theories, for and against with line marking, that it can create more space or reduce space. But overall, I think it's a good thing that we're doing. Whereas obviously the car parking issue is kind of becoming an ongoing issue, and we have got a need to develop a car parking strategy for our CBD, just as streets start to fill up. So I think this is a good step in that direction. But I'd also like to point out that car parking strategy would be good to get some information on that as we move forward. Thanks.
Councillor Tickle.
Thank you. I feel for the reasons given that the line marking is an excellent idea, but I was interested in the commentary in the report that due to the increased usage of Marius and Burke Streets, from my observations and also our own statistics, will support the fact that Burke Street is actually quite underutilised, and particularly since the introduction of parking meters probably 12 or 18 months ago. Our own statistics say from Dow Street to Peel Street in peak times it's only 58%. From Dow Street, both sides of the road, towards Marius Street, there's very little usage, and I think that it's something we need to consider as part of our strategy, and also our fees and charges in particular, is to possibly remove the parking meters from Dow Street to Marius Street on both sides of the road and encourage people to use the spots. Still have 2 hours time if that's what council wants, but at the moment the usage is not there, and Kitty will keep building more parks, and it costs a lot of money to do so. $18,000 to build a CBD car park, I believe, per park. So when we've got streets grossly underutilised, I think we really need to visit that and visit it from a financial point of view of what it costs to actually build more parking stations or places and look at what we've got vacant. So that's one perhaps that can be raised with our fees and charges that we're and also with the strategy.
Thanks, councillor Tickle. Any other comments? Councillor Mears?
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to bring people's attention, because there's been a lot of discussion on this issue on social media as well, about people complaining about, well, not complaint, but certainly part of council moving to the Daily Leader building. That's taken up a lot of the car parks, but there's been a significant change in the residency of Knoll Park House over the last few years, including the complete relocation of docks from Burke Street up into that space. And I can quite openly say that I've done a number of visits to that place, and early in the morning, and there's quite a lot of staff parking out on Marius, because I don't think their car park's big enough at the back. But also there's a significant number of customers as well from all the government agencies that utilise that space now and those parking spaces. So I'd say that I think it's a terrific idea with the line marking, because it will get people to park properly, because there's plenty of people that park 90 degrees, 60 degrees, etc., and take up a lot more space. But yeah, it's simply not just the temporary relocation of council that's causing significant issues with the traffic there. It's been about an almost once empty government office block now completely chock block. So, thank you.
Councillor Mears. Any other councillors wishing to comment? I'll just invite the Director for Regional Services to make a comment.
Through you, Mr Acting Mayor. Just to Councillor Southwell's comment about the car parking strategy, we are reviewing the car parking strategy. It'll probably happen over the next couple of months. There will be workshops with the councillors. With the university now, the design started for the university, we'll need to consider the impact of that, and we'll need to consider the impact on Cable Avenue, particularly with a lot of through traffic using Cable Avenue, and that's becoming an issue with all of the recreational facilities down there with pedestrians and stuff. So we need to have a look at that. We need to have a look at the congestion in Peel Street. Some of the issues that were raised tonight will be looked at as well, and there'll be a lot of information given to the councillors around Burke Street, White Street, around how the zones are in the CBD and how we're managing those zones. And the councillors have a lot of opportunity to be able to understand and comment on that car parking strategy.
Thank you. There being no further comments, I'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item 8.4. Could I have a mover? Councillor Burke, seconder. Councillor Betts. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Burke?
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. Look, just briefly, this is a huge investment by our council. It's a massive investment in terms of the Global Gateway, and just progressing the necessity to approve as we go along. Including the part for the intermodal, the extension and the change of the Wallamore Road. Those works are in progress, and obviously experiencing huge delays with the 6 inches of rain that's occurred in the last 20 days. So, but it's great to see that these things are progressing. The earlier access into the block from the $10 million roundabout, giving access there for earlier blocks there to be opened up. It's just great to see this happening, and of course we have to approve these as we go along, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Burke. Any speakers against the recommendation? Any other comments? Councillor Southwell.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, look, I'd like to concur with Councillor Burke on this one. I think having the funds there to finalise phase 1 of the Global Gateway Park and then commence with the funding for the phase 2 is very important. Many people don't realise just how crucial this project is to our local and regional area. I think this is going to be just crucial for the economic development and prosperity of our region for so many years to come. Not only, the intermodal, but the Global Gateway Park, building on what we've already done in Taminda, having the ability to do all the things that we'll be doing with freight, trucks, rail, everything is just going to be amazing for our region. So I'm very, very excited to see, this just continuing to build on, and it is a huge investment that we've made as a council, and I think the benefits for investing in this will be seen for many, many years to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Southwell. Any other comments? There being no further comments, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Governance, strategy and finance, item 9.1. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Coates, seconder, Councillor Sutherland. Would you like to speak to the recommendation?
No, thank you, Mr Acting Mayor.
Any speakers against? No. Any other comments? There being no comments, I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item 9.2, could I have a mover, please? Councillor Southwell, seconder. Councillor Betts. Would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Any speakers against? Any other comments? Councillor Sutherland.
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. Just want to say that I think it's great that we have motions for submission for the National General Assembly. Unfortunately, I can't attend, but to be able to bring up issues that we're facing from a local government perspective and be able to gain the support from local government more broadly from the General Assembly, I think is massive. All of those points there, I think, have had considerable conversation between us as a council and have the support of us all as council. One point, one of the points just want to point out there is around volunteering. Councillor Coates brought this up several times. And to be able to advocate for better pathways to support more volunteering to be able to happen here across our region, I think is an excellent step moving forward. So, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Sutherland. Any other comments? There be no other comments, I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item 9.3. Could I have a mover? Councillor Coates, seconder. Councillor Tickle. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. Just to make a comment that it's good to see that we're actually monitoring progress well with the Ray Walsh House update. I guess the thing is that considering the enormity of the whole project and the impact on staff, where we're at the moment, I think is testament to the hard work and control that's actually been applied to this project. And I would like to commend the people involved in that for the work that they've actually put in, because sometimes we can't necessarily control the financial side because things change. We do our best to do that, but we certainly can provide the support to staff that they require in such an upheaval. And I am very, very happy with how this has progressed from that point of view. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Coates. Any speakers against? Any other comments? Councillor Burke.
Thanks, Mr Acting Mayor. Look, this is a huge project and a project that was not seen as going to be something that was on our radar at last year's budget. And I think that the efforts that our council team have gone to be able to relocate that many staff in such a relatively short period of time, to have them settled in, to have us functioning as a council without really skipping too many steps along the way, I think has been a wonderful thing. I noticed that the local print media picked up on this as a front page item when the council papers were released on Thursday night for Friday, and the tone of that indicated that we've overrun and overspent, and I don't believe that is an accurate reflection of the enormity of the task, and it's also not going to be helpful in a way with the task ahead in terms of the amount of work that we need to do to consider what do we do with the Ray Walsh House. Those challenges are very real and are going to have significant budgetary impacts on the next financial year and beyond. And it'd be great to have the whole of community behind us in what we're trying to do against such huge odds for a building that had outlived its useful life, which was 50 years, brought to a fast end because of the what's the word that we use? As alcinite or something that's got the asbestos in it.
Like,
Nicolite.
Vermiculite.
Vermiculite. So, you know, we're throwing these challenges. Hopefully we'll end up with the result of a wonderful building in its refurb state that can take the council through for its next 50 years and beyond. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you, Councillor Burke. Any other comments? I'll call on Councillor Coates to
thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. If I could just make one more comment, and that's in regards to the fact that a lot of the money that we've spent has been on existing council properties, and although we may have gone a little bit over, we've actually added value to those and we've given longevity to those buildings, and should we not remain there in the future, we then have something that's actually going to support us and regain capital and income from those buildings. So, thank you.
Councillor Coates. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item 9.4, the remover, please. Councillor Beth, a seconder. Councillor Tickle, would you like to speak to?
No, Mr Acting Mayor.
Anyone just to speak against it? Any other comments? Councillor Southwell?
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. Just a question around the commentary in this report. Paragraph 2 highlights that the current quandary with investments is how much to invest longer term to avoid the predicted interest rate ahead of a forecast recession. And I just wonder if the councillors will be receiving some more information on this, if we need to discuss this to work out, you know, what are we going to do, or if perhaps our CFO could highlight, you know, what is actually happening with this report. It's obviously just to be received and noted, but will there be additional workshops around this issue? Because it is a bit of an issue for us with our investments. Good to see what we're doing. We're only, you know, the lowest one is paying less than 1%. That's about to expire, or it has recently just expired. So I just wonder if we're going to be receiving some more info on our investments in the future.
Thanks, Councillor Southwell. Any speaker against? Sorry, Rami, I'd just like to see if there's any speaker against. No. Rami, could I ask you to?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, we'll definitely into a workshop to actually go through it. It's always a balancing act between the requirement of the cash flow and investment when we place things like these into. So there's a trade between the rate that we generate and how liquid the funds that needs to be there to spend on the day-to-day and the capital investment. We've currently engaged an advisor, and you've seen maybe the attachment is somehow different. They've started to get, and because it's hard to speculate what the market's going to come up with. Now we've seen rates has been risen lately by the Reserve Bank, but the message that we're receiving, this is going to be tempered for the time being, and maybe at one point in the future it will start to drop again. So we're taking all that into consideration. It's more than, it's pretty much art than science, so to speak. But we're happy to have a separate session into discussing things like your risk appetite and the cash requirements. But we have to be cognizant of the regulation that governs this. There's the minister orders and all that we have to abide with when it comes to where we can invest and for how long.
Thanks, Rami. Any other comments? I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item 9.5, moved by Phil Betts, Councillor Betts, I should say, sorry. Seconder. Councillor Mears, would you like to speak for?
Yes, I would. Just very briefly, Mr Acting Mayor. It's in the report it said it's a very quiet quarter for adjustments, but one of the things that really stuck out with me was the $4.5 million from the Regional Local Roads Repair Program, and without that $4.5 million, because of the rain event we had, it would have put this council in a fairly significant financial deficit. But to have that money is excellent, and it'll go along with the other funding that council's for the road repair program, but over time it's still going to take quite some time to bring our asset back up to a level that we reckon that's sustainable. So thanks, Mr Acting Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Betts. Any other speakers against? Any other speakers? Councillor Southwell.
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to agree with Councillor Betts. That was the main thing that stood out for me, was that regional roads repair program, and it's great to see that we've got that funding after all of the wet weather. The other really good thing just to mention is the 55,000 in graffiti management grants, which I think is really, really good. I'm constantly using my TRC app and highlighting the graffiti that's around the CBD on my walks, and our graffiti officer does a fantastic job at getting on top of that, working with I think we've got a consulting team or a contractor that basically remove all of that graffiti for us. So just like to encourage the community to continue to report it, because without reporting it we can't go on and actually get rid of the graffiti. But good to see we've got that grant funding coming in at 55,000. I'd imagine that would go quite a fair way with graffiti removal. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Southwell. Any other comments? Councillor Bird.
Mr Acting Mayor, I cannot miss the opportunity of acknowledging and thanking those people of the community that took the opportunity to thank us for the condition of our roads. We too often, struggle with people condemning us for the quality of the roads and the condition of the roads, particularly with the unprecedented 3 years of wet weather that we've had. But to get people to actually take the time to write in and thank us for it, and I know that a lot of residents that I've spoken to on the regional gravel roads have commented to me about the quality of the work that's been done to make them have a longer life when it's being done. Maybe longer getting to them, but it has been better, and that's all tied up in this funding as well. So it's great to hear that positive feedback.
Councillor Burke. Comments? Put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Item 10, community services, 10.1. Could I have a mover? Councillor Sutherland, seconder Councillor Mears. Would you like to speak for the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Want to jump in and congratulate the previous youth council on serving a successful term. Under their tenure, we're able to get $50,000 for a youth wellness series, started up the regional youth radio fund, a number of different programs, and for them to commit to trying to provide better opportunities and advocate on behalf of the community while still at school, navigating the HSC and committing to the obligations of youth council has been amazing. So I want to thank them for their commitment, and also want to congratulate the new members of the youth council who'll come in, who I was lucky enough to be able to meet at their induction last week. Last week? Yeah, last week. Great. Times are crazy. Great group of young people, really committed to the future of our region. Just want to point out just a question too, if I may ask, Mr. Mayor, and that is that in the previous year, the Youth Council has been able to provide input and contribution to some strategic plans the council put together, including the visitor economy plan, the entrance strategy, our communications plan, the sustainability strategy, and provide some really valuable input. If I may ask, where are we at in creating our Tamworth Regional Youth Strategy? The young people will be able to provide input in the direction of themselves as young people, and provide some clarity for us on what success looks like and able to work with and engage with young people. Thank you.
For that, I'll call on Director Jackie O'Neill to answer that.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Acting Mayor. Yes, pleased to say that we've actually gone out for a request for quote to secure a consultancy to assist us in developing the youth strategy, and part of that we will incorporate workshops with the Youth Council to develop that youth strategy accordingly, in addition to the councillors present today and the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any speakers against? Any other comments? Councillor Coates.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. I would also just like to welcome the new members of the Youth Council. I think that it was really good to see that last year's council actually influenced quite a lot of council policy and future direction. But I think more importantly, this is a great opportunity for young people in our community to learn about what happens and how things happen with support from an organisation such as Tamworth Regional Council. And I just encourage them through this meeting to not just contribute, but also to maximise their opportunity and learn as much as they can from being on a council like this. So thank you.
Thanks, councillor Case. Any other comments? I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item 10.2. Do I have a mover? Councillor Tickle, seconder. Councillor Southwell, would you like to speak for the recommendation? Councillor Tickle.
This is another example of where TRC are helping our community groups and helping where we can. The Tamworth International Eventing is, like many of our not-for-profit groups in the community, it's a small team of dedicated volunteers who run programs and events at ALEC. But unfortunately, it's labour intensive because they have to load and unload the arenas, and then they get these portable yards or arenas. And so by this donation going towards the purchase of a covered trailer will help them enormously. They run programs for many in the community, including those with disabilities. They work closely with Riding for the Disabled, also school students, youth, and any other events. There was just one out at ALEC this weekend. So strongly support the application from this group.
Ms. Councillor Tickle. Any speakers against? Any other comments? There being no further comments, I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. At this point, I will move into closed council, but first of all, I would like to offer the opportunity to members of the public to make any representations as to whether any part of the items listed should not be considered in closed council. So I ask Mr. Collins if there is any written public submissions about any matter that should be heard in open council. And that I advise that the meeting therefore is now closed and
ask you before you're ready to back him up.
But I'll now ask the Executive Manager Strategy and Performance, who will now report on the results of closed business.
Thank you, Mr Acting Mayor. Councillors, this is a report on the closed session of the Ordinary Council meeting held 28th March 2023. In closed council, you considered 6 items, 12.1 through to 12.6, and for each of those items, you adopted the recommendations per the business paper.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to accept? Councillor Burke, second. Councillor Mears. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. So we'll close the meeting now. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Hamlet Hotel, is it?
Still on.
You going, Missy?
Hang on, everyone.